More SAT, more SAT, yes! Let's take a look at numbers 12 and 13 and 16 from linear test 1 module number 1. Here we go, starting with number 12. To you. Okay, what is this? Is this poetry? Yes, it's poetry. Which quotation from To You most effectively illustrates the claim? Find the claim. Where's the claim? In the poem, Whitman suggests that readers whom he addresses have not understood themselves. So the claim is that readers have not understood themselves. Let's look at A. You have not known what you are. Bam! That looks like the answer right there. You have slumbered upon yourself all your life. You've slept, basically. You don't know what's going on. Your eyelids have been the same as closed most of the time. That looks like the answer to me right now, but let's keep going. B, these immense meadows, these interminable rivers, you are immense. Is he talking to the rivers? And interminable as they, hmm. You are immense. Maybe he's talking to you, but he's referring to the rivers. In any case, it doesn't say that the reader doesn't know himself or herself or themselves. See, I should have made my way straight to you long ago. I should have blabbed nothing but you. I should have chanted. Okay, so the claim here is that he should have done something. Okay, so that one's out. D, I will leave all and come and make the hymns of you. None has understood you, but I understand you. Okay, so included in this none, would that mean that you don't understand yourself? Perhaps, but it's too general. So we go back to the specific where he clearly says, you have not known what you are. A, that is the answer. Okay, 13. Which finding, if true, would most directly support the student's claim? Claim, claim, claim. Where's the word claim? There it is. A student claims that Shamby's photographs have considerable ethnographic value. Ethnographic value. Okay, what does he mean by that? In his work, Shamby was able to capture diverse elements of Peruvian society. Okay, diverse elements of Peruvian society, representing his subjects with both dignity and authenticity. So he either so we're looking for either some way that Shamby captures diverse elements of Peruvian society or represents the subjects with both dignity and authenticity. Okay, we don't need to go back up here and read this stuff. All right, let's just stick with what we have so far. So A, Shamby took many commissioned portraits of wealthy Peruvians, but he also produced hundreds of images carefully documenting the peoples, sites, and customs of indigenous communities of the Andes. Okay, that's diverse. That's diverse. Okay, doesn't necessarily say anything about dignity and authenticity, but it says diverse elements of Peruvian society. So those are examples there. B, Shamby's photographs demonstrate a high level of technical skill, and we don't care about that. Let's just quickly scan the rest of this answer. As seen in his use, illumination, dramatic light, shadow, no, don't care about that. C, during his lifetime, Shamby was known and celebrated both within and outside his native Peru. Okay, we don't really care about that. What was he celebrated for? I'm going to skim through because I don't think it's going to have anything else. As was his work published in places. Okay, so we don't care about that. Don't care about that. D, some of the peoples and places Shamby photographed had long been popular subjects. We don't care about that. Okay, so B, C, and D, we don't care about. A is what we care about. That's what we're looking for. A is our answer. Okay, and notice we did it without reading the first part of this. Wasn't necessary at all. Let us look at number 16 now. Which finding, if true, would most directly support the researcher's hypothesis? Okay, So for that word, hypothesis, 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 the researchers hypothesize that plants depend on that the plants depend on dissolving underlying rock with these acids. So we're talking about certain plants and certain acids as the process not only creates channels, okay, so little pathways, little tunnels maybe for continued growth. Okay, so we're assuming that that's for the plant to grow in. Also also releases phosphates that provide the vital nutrient phosphorus. Okay, so the researchers think that these plants depend on dissolving this rock with acids because they need the channels for growth and to release phosphates that provide nutrients or a nutrient. Okay, is that enough? Is that enough to understand and to read on and to figure this out? Maybe. So remember, we're looking for something, if true, would support this hypothesis. Other species in the V family are found in terrains with more soil, but have root structures similar to those of B. Tomentosa and B. macrantha. Okay. So I don't see what that has to do with the channels or phosphates or any of the stuff that we just read. That doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means I don't see it yet because maybe the connection was made earlier and we'll have to go back and read the passage. I hope not. B, though B tomentosa and B macrantha. Okay, so I'm noticing that in all the answer choices, this is in the answer choices. So apparently these are the plants that we're talking about. Okay, so I don't need to go back and read that because it's the same thing in each one. Though these plants both secrete citric and malic acids, okay, they put out these acids. Each species produces the acids in different proportions, unless it says earlier in the passage that something about the proportions being necessary for channeling or for the channels. Not for we're channeling here. No, for the proportions for the channels and for the phosphate to be produced, then I don't think this does not look like the answer. Okay, C. The roots of these plants carve new entry points into rocks, even when cracks in the surface are readily available. Okay, they carve new entry points into rocks. They carve new entry points into rocks. So that means they're creating channels, even when cracks in the surface are readily available. Okay, so why would they create channels if there are already cracks in the surface? If there are already channels, basically, there? Well, the answer could be that they also need to release these phosphates. When they do that, when they create those channels, they release phosphates that provide the vital nutrient phosphorus. So that makes sense. C makes sense. The only thing I have a problem with here is it says carve new entry points. Is carve the same thing as dissolving underlying rock with these acids? Is that the same thing? Let's read back and let's see if there's anything that says anything about carving or so ultimately we can look at this first part here and see if it gives us information into that. In the mountains of Brazil, these plants, two plants in the V family, established themselves on soilless, nutrient-poor patches of quartzite rock. Plant ecologists, blah, 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 use microscopic analysis to determine that the roots of these plants, which grow directly into the quartzite, so the roots grow directly into the quartzite, they have clusters of fine hairs near the root tip. Further analysis indicate that these hairs secrete both malic and citric acids. So from the hairs of the roots, they put out these acids that dissolve the underlying rock, and they create these channels. Is that the same thing as carving? So it seems that the word carving is used here, not exactly a literal sense of carving it with a knife or a sharp object, but creating it. So this is a very important point, that we have to look for this sort of language sometimes that is not exactly a restatement of what is in the passage. Okay. So the language here is a little bit different, carving as opposed to dissolving and creating a channel that way. That's, that's different. That's a little bit different, but it means the same thing here. Okay. So this looks like it's our answer. Didn't look at D yet, though. Okay, D. Plants, these plants thrive even when transferred to the surfaces of rocks that do not contain phosphates. Okay, so what? So they thrive when we move them. Does that mean that they're creating their own phosphates? It might, but it might not. Could they possibly thrive without the phosphate? Yeah, I don't know. Okay. It doesn't say. What we do know is, going back to C, that if C were true, it would bolster that hypothesis there about creating these new entry points, creating new channels. Because why would it create channels where there already are channels, if not for some other reason other than to have a place for the roots to grow? Okay, so C is our answer there. And the answer to the question, should you read all this? I think you can answer the question without it. But if you need some more reassurance, or you need some more explanation of some of these terms, you're not sure how they're being used, you're not sure what certain things mean, by all means, go back and read this. Okay? But the information needed to answer the question is right here. The information needed to give a better explanation of some of this information may be right here. You may have to go back to that to get it. So, okie doke. That does it today. Those are called command of evidence questions under information and ideas. Okay. All right. So carry on. We'll see you next time.